Hey, coming up right now, what's in a name? Well, let's ask Marijuana Pepsi. You'll never believe her title as well.
Also coming up, looking desperate is no longer a red flag, at least on LinkedIn. We're calling out this new job hunting technique.
And a little bit later, you know what they say, never let P. Diddy get behind you. He's behind me right now, isn't he?
That's
He's
not
right
what they
Okay,
say.
well, one group is going after him, baby oil or not. We'll have the deets.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We got today's trends, tomorrow's talk, and so glad to have you here. A whole hour packed with goodness and good stuff, as well as Matt Doolittle. Oh, and Matt Doolittle.
Yes. Hello there.
All good stuff. Oh, and Matt Doolittle.
Oh, and
That's
and Matt Doolittle.
I want to thank the folks out at Universal Orlando Resorts. They had us out for Halloween Horror Nights.
How was it?
Night. It was fun. It was rainy, so there was some of the stuff was kind of not in full push, but the houses were great. My Ghostbusters house looks amazing. I'm used to it.
Do they still have the Stranger Things house?
No,
or
they changed that out. But
okay.
the big money spend was the Ghostbusters house. Which was
That's
awesome.
kind of like the big theme, and out of this world Hollywood production.
It's amazing,
scaring,
incredible.
houses.
We were at a local ice cream place the other night, and there was a Ghostbusters car out front.
Oh, how
Nice.
cool.
I'm like, what is going on here? It was so neat.
When I was in New York last, I got to go by the fire
you?
station.
Oh, I
was
love
fun.
it.
It was really
Neat,
cool.
neat,
And
neat.
if you happen to go by there, go look at the pole right next to it. You'll see a Mitch English sticker that somebody apparently put there.
Oh, that's nuts.
I don't know.
Leaving your mark
I never said that. I
everywhere.
never said that at all.
This lady in California, pregnant, goes to the hospital, has her baby, getting ready to leave the hospital with her healthy baby.
Yeah.
The hospital says, nope, I'm sorry, we're going to have to keep the baby here. You're not allowed to take your baby home because you tested positive for opiates. She's like, I've never done a drug in my life. What are you talking about? They said, I'm sorry, ma'am, but the test came back positive for opiates. You know what it was?
Is it the
Poppy seed salad dressing.
dressing? Wow.
Salad dressing. She got one of those, pre-made salads, and it had the poppy seed dressing on the side. And this poor woman, traumatized, of course, because she's being accused of, taking drugs while she's having a baby, not allowed to take her baby home, and she's arguing with the hospital, saying, "I don't do drugs. I don't know why I tested. You've got a mix-up. You've made a mistake." But that's what it was.
And now, imagine there was food that was brought in from the hospital. Because if it was from the hospital, then I could see, listen, this is a huge issue.
Right. No, she had the salad like the day before.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
she bought a pre-made salad. It came with the poppy seed dressing. She had it. And I guess in some companies and even some facets of workplaces, they tell you, be careful if you eat poppy seeds if you're drug tested, because they can show up in drug
Those
tests.
muffins. That's what
Poppy seed
I was going to say
muffins,
muffins, but I never
yeah.
thought about the
Me neither.
dressing, salad dressing. That's actually kind of
Yeah.
scary. I mean, it could really ruin
Could really ruin your life.
Yeah, think about that. So obviously everything's working out great.
Yeah, she finally got her daughter back, and
Her
she
daughter
got
Poppy.
Her daughter Poppy.
Named her Poppy.
Poppy Montgomery. So she is finally, she was able to clear her name.
Wow.
She got it figured out with the hospital, but I mean,
That would be scary. And it's also, when
I
you
was
have a child,
terrified for
you're
her.
exhausted,
Yes.
you're tired, you're
Delusional.
nervous, scared.
I don't remember
Yes.
what I ate yesterday. So it's like,
Well,
wait,
then
what did
that's
I
another
have?
thing.
I'm like,
Right?
I don't remember.
How do you figure
and
that
I
out?
wouldn't have even thought about poppy seed dressing until, she broke it down. But she's like, that's the only thing. I went through everything that
Yeah.
I consumed like within the last 48 hours.
And there is part of me that says, you know what, I kind of appreciate the hospital doing something like that. Because, well, let's say she was a
Yes.
drug addict. I
Yes.
mean, they could help. But even still, if she, like, listen, you had so many people vouch for you, but you never know these day and age. It is scary. Speaking of names, there's a woman who, she goes by that name, Marijuana Pepsi. Why?
Wow.
Well, she was born with that name. She says, you know what, I'm never going to change it. She's 52 years old, and her name is Marijuana Pepsi Van Dyke. And she was actually given that name by her mother. Her parents thought actually she'd be world famous with that kind of name one day. Growing up with many, assumed that her mom took drugs or maybe was in prison. Not the case at all. This is the best part. This is one of those, ha-ha.
Yeah.
Dr. Marijuana Pepsi, she's got a PhD in higher educational and works at a community college.
Awesome.
Marijuana is often asked if she does drugs or drinks Pepsi. She says, never have, never will. How about that?
Does she drink Coke?
That could be a thing as well. Does she get drug tested all the time?
Yeah,
with a
right,
name like
exactly.
That? I actually appreciate that. And it's a lot of. I imagine there had to be a time. She probably has already worked through all of that. That's why she's so firm with it. And but growing up, it couldn't be easy for her. Well, maybe she went by Mary when she was a kid.
Mary Jane, she could have.
Could go by that.
That is true.
Hippie lettuce was not a good nickname for her, but good for her. I love hearing stories like that.
I've heard of some stories where like a hospital will like not let you put stuff like that on a birth certificate.
in
They're
countries-
like, we need your head to be
Yes.
more clear, and maybe you don't want that
Yes,
name.
in certain countries, you're absolutely right about
Yeah.
that.
And
yeah.
there's I know in Iceland there's a list that if that name pops up, then there's no
You're
way you
not
can do it.
allowed.
And you got to get your name approved as well sometimes when you name a child.
I'm guessing
England,
that
there-
would not get approved in
don't think that
Iceland.
would all.
Yeah.
In England, there was a kid they wanted to name Skywalker in Star Wars, and they said, no, you got to get permission from Disney and Lucasfilms.
Oh,
before
come on.
No, it's a true story. Yeah, they wouldn't let him put Skywalker
I've heard
on the
that
birth
story.
certificate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? I love
What if
it.
you want to name your kid Darth?
Or Luke.
Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? In that
Can't
case,
trademark
you're right.
Luke.
How? Yeah, but
Leia,
there's so many different names.
Stormtrooper.
Boba Fett was. I went to high school with him. He was a great guy.
What was the big sloppy thing?
Jabba. Which, that's a nickname. That
You're
goes
not
with
going to have a
nickname.
good. Yeah, that's McKay's nickname.
Looking desperate is no longer a red flag, at least on LinkedIn. Unemployed people who are looking for work are now being transparent about their need for a new role. Job seekers are adding the hashtag desperate as a banner on their profile. It's an odd choice for users who are looking for employment. The creator of the Desperate logo believes it could help young job seekers out in some kind of way. And Gen Zers say there's no shame in their game when
Okay.
it comes to looking for work. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say desperate's probably not the best choice of words, because from a famous movie quote, desperate is the world's worst cologne.
Yeah, I could totally buy that. Was that Swingers, maybe?
He could have been, yeah.
But it also goes with, if you're going to put that desperate, that means you're willing to take whatever job. And if you do take that job, you're not allowed to complain because you said, you were desperate and you'll take whatever. And I assume that's where they're coming after. But it puts them in the spotlight. It's much like the guy that was holding the sign saying, I have here's my degree, here's my resume, hire me. And if it gets you out there and gets you noticed, that is half of the battle. Is like now you have to prove yourself if you can get seen, if you could stand out in some way. But desperate, I agree with you, probably not the best.
Singles, Campbell Scott.
Singles, okay, there you go.
That's where the quote came
Isn't it
from.
weird how our brain will just pop out in memories? All right, a cartel member currently serving time behind bars. He's filing a lawsuit against hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The convict claims Diddy destroyed his drug business in New York.
goodness.
And he wants nearly $700,000 in damages. The lawsuit contends that the cartel member's criminal enterprise was destroyed after he refused to comply with Diddy's sex trafficking demands. Wow. The allegation against Combs in the suit include ruining relationships on the street if the Sinaloa gang member didn't do as Diddy said. And I'm sure is not going to go anywhere. When you're in prison, you have many hours to think about what you can do to make another buck.
I'm just not sure which is worse, the Mexican cartel coming after you or the Southern District of New York coming after you and the federal government, the Department of Justice.
You were going to be broke either way, right?
Yes.
It is scary. And then if he does serve time, what will that have any influence? I would just keep quiet about it if I was him or his lawyers.
Yeah.
And his lawyers, by the way, if you ask him any question, as most lawyers will, categorically denies everything. And they ask him, where did he get all that baby oil? Well, there was a Costco down the street. People buy
Johnson
it.
and
And
Johnson's
Costco
more
says
upset.
they've never sold baby oil. They do
is
not
that
sell.
right?
Yeah, they came out right after that storm like, we do not sell
That's hilarious.
baby oil here. I think what's interesting about this P. Diddy story, well, there's a lot of stuff that's very fascinating about it, but it does sort of bring the spotlight back onto young actors, young performers, desperate to get into the business. They look at somebody like a P. Diddy and think, this is my golden ticket. And oftentimes there are strings attached.
Lots.
That they don't quite understand, but they're willing to do whatever it takes in order to get that opportunity, become the next big star, the next big thing.
And I think, as you were talking, I think of Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber's a perfect
lot of that,
example,
even
yeah.
though it was, I believe, Usher that kind of ushered him into
Yeah.
the whole world of music and that sort of thing. It's kind of scary too, exactly what could be done and what is held back just because of the fact that people, would they, as it comes out of Hollywood, you don't necessarily think you can believe everything, but a lot of times maybe there is some truth behind
And
it.
I think that it's sort of that business is ripe for people who are predators to get involved in it
Oh,
because
great
they
point.
offer this kind of golden path to stardom. And whether it's the kid or the parents or both, they buy into it because they think this is it for us. This is
And
our way in.
to link the two stories about the LinkedIn saying desperate, you come to Hollywood with nothing, you are that way. You are desperate. You'll
Yes.
take whatever. So that's what's sad. We got more Flash coming up after this. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. In a world where division and uncertainty are really prevalent, the need for genuine connections, very critical. But how can we actually remain connected when our opinions diverge and times are really unpredictable? Well, our next guest, best-selling author TJ Woodward, says the answer lies in living in the question. TJ joins us now. TJ, welcome back to Daily Flash. We're so glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Mitch. I'm delighted to be here for this, I think, very important conversation about how we can remain connected with each other.
I appreciate that because you think about where we're at in the world, where I can call somebody in Japan right now and see them right here on my screen, and we think, oh, this world is so connected. But really, it's actually pushing us a little bit apart, I would imagine. Tell us first, as I said in the intro here, what does living in the question actually mean?
Well, living in the question is actually quite simple. Most of us have been trained to seek answers. From a very early age in school, we are taught what is the right answer, what is the right answer. So when we are only seeking answers, it can cause division. Asking ourselves open-ended questions actually open us up to curiosity and can actually create greater connection, even if we're talking with someone who we have divergent opinions with.
Okay, as you were saying that, I was thinking of some social media sites where one in particular where you usually follow people on this social media site that believe the same way that you do. And with that, it seems like, are you really learning anything if you're hearing the same thing over and over? We see news networks now that kind of go to the right, go to the left. How important is it for us, because you kind of alluded to that, how important is it for us to see all sides and still remain true to our values and that sort of thing?
Well, we have been taught that we are in a polarized country or a polarized world. I actually think we've been conditioned to have polarized thinking, the idea of us and them and good and bad and right and wrong. And as you said, now with the advent of social media, it seems like more and more we're trying to find a group of like-minded people.
Yeah.
Another way of saying that is, let me just find a bunch of people who agree with me. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with that, as you alluded to as well, that doesn't really create a broader connection with people who have different opinions, and also doesn't it open us up to seeing the world in a different and unique way?
I love that. I mean, that's poetic almost. And you also talk about in your book about the need to be right. Kind of like, well, I live most of my life that way. Like I always had to be right. But that's a trap. Explain why.
Well, as I said, we get conditioned from a very early age to always be right or to look for the right answer, but we know that can create division or separation. So there's nothing inherently wrong with trying to be right, but the question is, does it create more connection? And a lot of times we'll hear people say, well, we're just going to agree to disagree. I actually think there's a greater possibility. We can remain connected if we realize I have opinions, but I'm not my opinions. Then I can actually genuinely hear someone and ask them, why do you believe the way you do? Because, it's not always about just surrounding ourselves with everyone who agrees with us.
I totally agree with that. And I think those blinders can really be detrimental to where we wind up eventually, in life, just like, well, I've always done this. And then you realize, wow, you really could have seen the whole world and maybe experienced different things. So as you said that's what kind of crossed my mind. But you also talk about the importance of open-ended questions. Why are they so important to be open-ended instead of maybe a direct answer?
Well, I think there's two things. One, an open-ended question, as we've said, will create more connection. So rather than telling someone my opinion or kind of drilling into telling them why we think they're wrong, I can ask open-ended questions. Where did you start believing that? What what made you come to that decision? Where might we meet in the middle, or where might we find agreement? But the other part to open-ended questions is to ask ourselves open-ended questions, and that then can create more curiosity.
All right, now you got to give me some examples of how we can actually ask ourselves those open-ended questions, which actually would probably help me ask open-ended questions to other people. Give me some examples.
Yeah. So if I find myself having a reaction, whether that's internal or external, oh, I don't agree with that. We're on social, we see something, we get that charge. We can pause, take a breath. We can ask questions like, where did I first start believing this? What do I experience when I believe this? What if there's a different way to look at this? Some of my favorite open-ended questions are, how does it get even better than this? And what else is possible? Those questions will open us up to start seeing things in a unique way.
I appreciate that, because it says, a lot of times when you kind of reach a goal, you're at a point, you're like, all right, I've done it. But if I'm able to open up my mind to say, well, where else can we go beyond that? It actually will keep me chasing the carrot for knowledge. And then I look back in the wake of me, I've actually learned that many things. Let's say we're on a place where maybe it seems like family is really where we see a lot of issues, because we are a little bit more honest and more of ourselves around our family. Do you find that dynamic allows for open-ended, or it's like, okay, I'm going to be this way? Do you see, I guess what I'm asking is, in families, do you see this more of an issue than maybe socially?
Yeah, I think with families, we can say our families push our buttons because they installed them, right? We have a lot of history, but we can actually pause and ask ourselves, am I willing to connect with this person, this family member, even though we have this long history of disagreement? If I can pause, feel what I'm feeling rather than reacting, because I think the greatest freedom we'll ever experience is freedom from the reactive impulse. Take a breath, then ask an open-ended question or two. I think it's a great experiment, so I invite people to try it. And I used to say, when in doubt, ask 3 questions, and that really changed my life.
I like that, and I could see that being something that could be very, very beneficial for, not individually, but collectively as a society. I love this. You want to find out more about TJ? These are great. And TJ, we want you back on the show. You can check out his books. Go to tjwoodward.com, or you can go to wholehearted.org. We'll have links on our website as well. You can go to dailyflashshow.com. Stick around. We got a whole lot more of today's trends in tomorrow's talk. And by the way, when you go to our website, anything you see on the show, you'll be able to see there. dailyflashshow.com. We got more coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It's time for us to check in with Tony Toscano to find out what's coming out of Hollywood and straight to your screen, no matter what size you're going to watch it on. With the latest, here's Tony.
Thanks, Mitch. Now streaming on most video-on-demand platforms is the biographical comedy Winner.
So I joined the Air Force.
Really?
It's a joke, right?
Boot camp starts the day after I graduate. And then I was off to Afghanistan. Yeah, I wish. They said I had to start here first, doing surveillance on the Taliban. The next 2 years were all drone strike in Bamiyan, road trip with Andrea, bench 130, killed someone's grandfather, dude moved into my place, killed 3 ISIS dudes, $500 to the Red Cross, saw Pitch Perfect 2, better than Pitch Perfect 1. Wonder if they'll make it a trilogy.
Based on true events, Reality Winner, yes, that's her real name, is a brilliant young misfit from Texas who finds her morals challenged while serving in the U.S. Air Force and working as an NSA contractor. I chatted with star Amelia Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I hope people take away from it. I know that reality has definitely made me question the way I think about things in life. Yeah, some people are really, really strong, and they don't just want to sit around and let life play out. They want to stand up for what they believe in and what they think is right. And yeah, I think reality is a lot stronger than I am, so it definitely has made an impression on me.
Winner is a well-acted whistleblower film with a twist, as it leaves the audience never really sure of what side to end up on. Is she a hero or a criminal? Overall, Winner is an enjoyable ride and well worth your time to see. Again, it's streaming on most video-on-demand platforms and gets a B. It's rated PG-13. Hitting theaters on Friday is the romantic comedy Plan B.
Hey, Piper.
Hey.
You look amazing tonight. You always look amazing.
Thank you. Do you want to come over?
Last night was really special.
Evan, what are you doing in my apartment? You're dating Evan Ebert? We are not dating. It was a one-time thing. This morning I was barf city. I think it's just like something I ate. It's either that or you're pregnant.
When a one-night stand with her awkward neighbor leaves her pregnant, a young woman decides to quickly sleep with a successful businessman and tells him he's the father of her unborn baby. I chatted with actress Kate Flannery, whom you might remember from The Office.
I love this group of people. We really had fun in a short period of time. And everybody had their head on straight. There were no divas, and I think it's important that the movie come before anybody's ego. And it was nice to shoot on the White Horse Pike. I mean, there's like places I grew up near there that were near and dear to my heart that I hadn't been in years. So, but I just think as an audience member, it's nice to have a movie that makes you laugh but also has heart. With a cast that includes John Heder, Shannon Elizabeth, and Jamie Lee, Plan B is a heartwarmingly funny and cringeworthy film that will keep you laughing from start to finish. Again, check it out in theaters this Friday. It gets an A and is not rated. For the Daily Flash, I'm film critic Tony Toscano.
Thank you there, Tony. Well, as anyone on a weight loss journey knows, hours of hard work and a commitment to healthy habits are instrumental in hitting your goal weight. So joining us now is Kristen Glass from Optavia and her client, Holly Anastasio. Kristen, I want to ask you, can you talk a little bit about your coaching philosophy?
I think coaching is so important to someone's health journey because you're actually working with another person who has experienced what you're experiencing. So often when we're on our health journey, we do it in the dark. We don't share it with people, but having another person to hold you accountable and hold you accountable from a place of being there before is incredibly valuable. 90% of Optavia coaches were also clients themselves. And coaching is much more than just encouraging. While encouraging is really helpful, what for me was the most helpful was that my coach had been there before me, and she knew as a busy mom with young kids, I needed weight loss to be absolutely simple. And Optavia provides that with grab-and-go snacks, with our helpful guides, and most importantly, that coach that's really almost taking the thinking out of it for you.
So my health journey started in 2018. Kristen is an old friend of mine. I started seeing her sharing about her health journey, and she was absolutely glowing. And I was at a point where I was so uncomfortable in my own skin. I knew that I needed to change, but I needed something simple and I needed structure, even though I probably didn't want it. But Kristen had gone before me and she was coaching and offered to show me the way. And I said, absolutely yes. In a recent study, we have found that actually having support on a health journey leads to more weight loss than if you were to do it alone. And I have absolutely experienced that, having tried to go at it alone many times in the past.
You just go to optavia.com/results. And don't forget, National Coaches Day is October 6th. So whether you're just brand new starting out like we were, or you're somebody who might be navigating the complex nutritional needs and mindset needs of someone on GLP-1 medicines, or you're someone who's already living a healthy lifestyle, Optavia has products, programs, and most importantly, one-on-one coaching to get you to your goals.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hello, everybody. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment.
So glad to have you hanging out here with us today. We got still some great stuff waiting for you at least. We all love flying, and it seems though.
Do we?
I love to travel. I love to fly. I think if it's the people I travel with is what I don't like.
Yeah.
And probably one of the best things about traveling is the fact that we have entertainment now, so it's not like we have to sit and look at the back of a seat. Well, there was a Qantas Airlines flight from Sydney, Australia to Tokyo, okay? And as they fly, apparently this is one of those planes where it's the big screen and everybody watches the same movie.
Oh, okay,
right?
yes.
Right? So remember the old days like that, you would pull it down, you got to watch and hook up your headphones to listen to it. Well, they were on a flight from Sydney to Tokyo, and they played the movie, but apparently played the wrong one. They played Daddy-O, which stars Sean Penn and Dakota Johnson. It's rated R, and it's about 40 minutes into it, after gratuitous sex scenes, sexting, nude scenes, everything, they realized, hey, maybe we shouldn't be playing this, right? And so they pulled it down, and then they started playing, believe it or not, Inside Out 2, which I guess they went down the direction.
I mean, it's safe-ish.
Right,
okay.
right? Would you think the name Inside Out 2 would be with the Sean Penn, Dakota Johnson story? And they apologized to everybody. But here's the thing, how do you screw that up? Like how, I know now they used to like edit out films in movies.
Yes, because
on planes.
Yeah, because the airlines would get a specific edited cut of a movie to play on the plane.
And nowadays, it's not necessarily that case. There's a disclaimer I saw. It's like, hey, this movie
really?
when you watch it on the back of a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, it took them 40 minutes before they realized this is probably not a great idea to show
40
everybody
minutes?
and apologize. And this was after all of the nude scenes and all of the sexting.
They're not even close to looking the same. Like, did none of the flight attendants go, hey, they're not playing the emotional figures from Pixar?
Exactly. Well, I don't know if that was like an alternative, like, hey, sorry, we screwed up. Here's Inside Out 2. So you can go over your feelings that you have.
Was Daddy-O supposed to be for first class and Inside Out for coach?
That's a good call. We don't
got
know
the
that.
wires crossed.
Got the
Have to
anxiety
be
going.
one or the other, right?
Well, a woman goes by the name Marijuana Pepsi, says she was born with the name and she will never change it. 52-year-old Marijuana Pepsi Van Dyke was given the name by her mother. Her parents thought she would be world famous with that kind of name one day. Growing up, many assumed her mother took drugs or was in prison, which was not the case. Dr. Marijuana Pepsi has a PhD in higher educational and works at higher education and works at a community college. Marijuana is often asked if she does drugs or drinks Pepsi. Her response, never.
Not at all. Good for her.
Yeah.
And, taking it from where you're at, it's unfortunate maybe her parents named her that and whatever, but she doesn't look at it that way.
No.
So I can appreciate that and loving who you are. She says a lot of the people who support her, like Champagne Thunder. She says, wonderful time. Vodka Sunrise says, you go, girl. And then Pickle Fizz, well, she's a little bit.
Cocaine 7-Up says hi.
Cocaine
too.
7-Up.
I was thinking, what if she had named her Marijuana Pepper and then she became Dr. Pepper?
I love that, yes.
On. Now see that to me is like.
I appreciate that. You think about crazy names, having 4 kids, I look at them, you come up with the name before they're born most of the time. There's some parents that they'll look at the kid and then name them, which it makes more sense. It's kind of like the Native American way of your child, like the first thing they see and that sort of thing. You kind of appreciate that. Do you feel like you grow into your name?
I think so. I think there's definitely a case for that, but I also think that there's also something romantic about hearing your parents and why they decided to choose the name they picked for you.
Like you told me
I feel like
yours.
there's a story for. How about you? Why?
No, all of my siblings, we all have the same initials. And I'm number 4 out of 5, and so they had to pick the name. And I think if I was a girl, I would have been Michelle something. But we all had the same initials, M-A-E. So, and you were named after a flight attendant,
Flight
right?
attendant.
Yeah,
My parents met at a party.
I love that. No, it's great, right?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Matt, you named after anybody?
Not any specific, but with the last name I've got, Doolittle, I was tormented no matter what.
And
so.
there's no chance you being a doctor anytime
No.
All right. Today's Trends, tomorrow's Talk. More right here on Daily Flash.
Falls during everyday activities account for nearly half of all concussions in the U.S. Joining us now is Dr. Chris Devalantes and Kathleen Cameron from the Center for Healthy Aging.
Thanks for having us. So concussions actually happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. And while most people think sports-related concussions are the most common, it's actually general falls, people tripping and falling. That accounts for nearly half of the concussions that we see in the emergency room, followed by car accidents, assaults, and bicycle accidents and so forth. It's very important to understand this, and it can happen to anyone. And when people have a brain injury, it may or may not lead to a concussion, but when a concussion has occurred, it's important to watch for signs: headache, trouble concentrating, visual problems, balance problems, insomnia, depression. All of these things are important to recognize and to seek help, because for many people, these symptoms can last for weeks, months, or years. And in fact, 17% of people that suffer concussion are unemployed a year after their head injury. So it's not a mild traumatic brain injury at all. It's in fact life-changing. So very important to be evaluated, very important to recognize these symptoms. And when you're not sure, go in and get checked out.
And for older adults, falls are the leading cause of injury, with one of the major injuries being concussions. And older adults often have more serious consequences as a result of their fall-related injury. For example, with concussions, many older adults might suffer a stroke over a period of time, or they might have long-term memory changes or cognitive changes, or even mental health conditions that may start, like depression or anxiety. Many older adults also experience just long recovery from a fall that could lead to hospitalization, nursing home placement, and for some older adults, they may not even leave the nursing home. So it's a very serious issue to think about with falls, but the good news is that many falls can be prevented, and we have simple solutions that can help older adults reduce their risk for falling. Things like talking to your doctor, getting your doctor to do a falls risk assessment. For example, making sure your home is safe by making some changes in the home, like removing tripping hazards, improving the lighting around your home, installing grab bars in the bathroom. Also engaging in physical activity that include exercises for strength, balance, and flexibility. Also getting your medications checked, because many medications cause side effects. Vision and hearing tests are really important. Getting those every year is vital. And then asking for help from family and friends. Please visit concussionawarenessnow.org for more information about concussions, and ncoa.org/falls for information about how you can prevent falls, including taking the falls-free checkup. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Did you know that over 100 million Americans struggle with weight-related challenges? So joining us now from Hims and Hers is Meher Gandhi and Dr. Jessica Yu.
We've all heard the massive benefits for the new GLP-1 medications, but access and price to GLPs are the biggest barriers for most Americans. In the traditional healthcare system, access to GLP-1s typically cost over $1,000 per month, and not a lot of people can afford an extra $1,000 per month. We are offering those exact same weight loss treatments to military, veterans, first responders, nurses, and teachers starting at $99 a month. We believe that giving access to potentially life-saving medication at an affordable cost for our frontline heroes is our responsibility.
Well, we know that mental health and weight loss are related in a couple different ways. We know that people with obesity tend to have more mental health struggles. We know that the weight loss journey can be incredibly stressful. We know that losing weight improves your mental health as well as your physical health.
Weight loss is not a one-size-fits-all solution. What works for some people doesn't work for others.
For more information, you can head to hims.com/appreciation or for hers.com/appreciation.
Life Love Shopping is a weekly 30-minute lifestyle show hosted by Andrea Jackson. It's focused on the latest trends for your health, home, and happiness. Life Love Shopping offers viewers ways to improve their life and style, wellness, and relationships. If you live it, love it, or buy it, Life Love Shopping will talk about it.
We start today's show with the happiest jobs in America. A recent study found physical therapists take the top spot when it comes to job satisfaction.
Life Love Shopping, your life and style guide from A to Z.
National Gumbo Day is coming soon, and joining us today is award-winning chef Madonna Broussard, a third-generation restaurateur who is teaming up with Louisiana Tourism to showcase what makes the state so unique and special. Welcome, Chef.
Welcome, welcome. Thanks for having me.
So why celebrate National Gumbo Day?
In Louisiana, we have deep culinary roots to gumbo. It's actually our labor of love. You gotta make a roux. And you know, once you get that roux going, it's ready.
So what's your personal favorite recipe?
My personal favorite gumbo recipe is definitely chicken and sausage. You gotta have chicken and sausage, also fresh seafood, and pairing that with potato salad and fluffy rice. Gotta have that rice.
That's great. So what makes your connection to Louisiana's culinary story?
I'm a third generation restaurant owner in Lafayette, Louisiana. My restaurant is Laura's too. My grandmother was Laura. We started in 1968. We're a generation of Creole cooks.
That's awesome. So what's something unique you'd like to tell our viewers about Louisiana?
Gotta come to Lafayette, Louisiana for rice and gravy.
Where can we go for more info?
At explorelouisiana.com.
Thanks, Chef, and we'll make sure we have this on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
Emily Calandrelli, known as Emily the Space Gal, joins us. She's here to tell us more about the Arm & Hammer Baking Soda Rocket Day launch across America. This is cool. Emily, tell us about it.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to partner with Arm & Hammer Baking Soda to help launch Baking Soda Rocket Day on October 10th. This is also in partnership with the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And on this day, we are going to be launching the most baking soda rockets in a single day. And I am so incredibly excited to be part of it. I'm going to be in Queens, New York, helping one of the 250 schools who are participating help launch their baking soda rockets. And what I love most about this, and I learned this firsthand as host of Emily's Wonder Lab on Netflix, where we do a lot of hands-on science experiments with kids, is that sometimes it only takes one of these science experiments for a kid to see themselves as a scientist. And it's just so important that we do this with kids all across the country, because these fields in science and technology, they are accelerating at an unprecedented pace. And we need everyone to get involved, because these problems are so complex that we're going to need diverse, creative ideas from everywhere. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of Baking Soda Rocket Day with Arm & Hammer, because we are bringing the science to them. These schools received all the materials that they needed to make this very easy, accessible, hands-on science experiment, along with the lesson plan that teaches them the science behind it. And one of my favorite parts of Baking Soda Rocket Day is that all of the kids are instructed to write their dream inside the rocket, so that we are launching their dreams sky high. Because I believe, and Arm & Hammer believes, that the sky is not the limit. I'm going to space soon. I know that the sky is not the limit. And we know that science experiments like this can help make sure that their dreams are brighter than the stars. And the best part about this is that everybody who gets involved enters for a chance to win a trip for their child to go to space camp, which is a pretty fun incentive. So you can learn more about how to get involved in the sweepstakes rules and all of that at bakingsodarocket.com.
The American Pharmacists Association is reminding everyone of the importance of keeping up to date on all of your vaccines. Here is Dr. Deanna Tran with more.
So individuals who have heart or lung conditions, as well as those who are immunocompromised, so you're looking at individuals who have cancer, for example, or those who are taking medications that put them at higher risk and more susceptible to some of those illnesses, those individuals should definitely get their vaccines. And we can actually provide all CDC recommended vaccines. So that's one of the really great things about how pharmacists are really accessible. And actually 90% of individuals within the United States are within 5 miles of a pharmacy. So we are able to be able to easily get to and be able to get your vaccines. And actually you can do walk-ins, you can get an appointment, so it's really easy to be able to get your vaccines, and that way you can stay protected. I would actually recommend going back to your pharmacist. You know, we are those trusted experts who will be able to answer all those medication-related questions, but also get your vaccines as well. You want to get them so you stay up to date, and that's important to help reduce those potential severity of symptoms and keep you out of the hospital.
Look what time it is. It's time for the Halloween spirit, right? All right, pretty bad. Chocolate and candy makes this holiday one of the sweetest. Here is Carly Schildhouse with the National Confectioners Association.
We asked Americans for their favorite Halloween treats for 2024, and we have the answers. Coming in at number one, probably no surprise, is chocolate. It's a favorite throughout the year, and if you're looking for a little Halloween twist on it, Americans' favorite Halloween treat shapes are bats, pumpkins, and ghosts, so those are all a great fit. Next up, we have chewy candy and gummy candy, and a lot of Americans are looking for something a little spooky for the season. 2/3 of Americans say that they want something with a creepy or a scary theme, and there are so many options for that within chewy and gummy candy. Then, of course, you cannot talk about the Halloween season without talking about the admittedly controversial candy corn. No matter how you feel about it, you cannot deny that candy corn is an iconic part of the Halloween season. All the tricks you need for treating at alwaysatreat.com/Halloween, and we encourage people to join the conversation by using the hashtag HalloweenTreats on social media.
And now we've got some tips to avoid getting sick and making sure you stay healthy during the fall and winter seasons.
During cold and flu season, it's crucial to prevent, treat, and manage common respiratory illnesses such as cold, flu, COVID-19, and RSV.
Wash your hands, avoid touching your face, cover your mouth and nose when sneezing and coughing, and stay home if you don't feel well. If you do get sick, GoodRx can help you save on treatments like antibiotics, cold medications, and antivirals to manage your symptoms and shorten the duration of your illness.
Learn more at goodrx.com/flu savings.
KSA Entertainment believes in our communities. We value those who have dedicated their lives to enrich our own. KSA Entertainment is proud to introduce our corporate initiative, KSA Cares. KSA Cares shines a light, gives a voice, and lends a helping hand through compelling awareness initiatives. From supporting veterans to environmental awareness, KSA Entertainment is proud to produce content supporting ways to help communities all across America.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. So glad to have you here. We definitely want to help you elevate your game day spread by taking fan favorite football foods and turning them into masterpieces. So let's go with an expert. Joining us now is lifestyle expert Joanne Butler. Hey there, Joanne.
Hi, thanks for having me. Well, let's be honest, everyone knows it's all about the eats when it comes to game day, at least in my house anyway. And Old El Paso is showing everyone how super easy and fun it is to try something fresh and new with your game day spread. I love using Old El Paso in my kitchen. They have just a bunch of delicious hard and soft taco shells and kits, seasonings, sauces, soups. They even have a lower carb option of shells, just really making mealtime so easy and versatile. And for game season, they're proving that any of your favorite football foods can be a taco. They actually teamed up with football's favorite trio of brothers, JJ, TJ, and Derek Watt, in a head-to-head brotherly competition called Watt Can Taco, where they had them whip up game day inspired tacos. So pizzas, wings, sandwiches. And today I've made a couple of their creations. These are Derek's Philly cheesesteak tacos with the soft flour tortillas. Basically a variation of finger sandwiches. And you know what I love? No fumbles with messy dips. I love their squeezable sauces. The trick to doing this though is just to not be timid, just have at it. You'll get a beautiful line because this stuff is so creamy. Comes out great. These are TJ's pulled buffalo chicken tacos. You use the stand and stuff hard shells for these. I love these because they're flat on the bottom so everything stands up. And the spicy queso blanco, equally delicious for these. Now some of their other creations, pizza tacos, kebab tacos. There are so many goodies to elevate your spreads and just mix it up all season long right on their website. It's oldelpaso.com. It's super fun and you have fun too. Happy game season. Happy eats.
You know, all kinds of great stuff out there. Of course, sports, but on the other side of it, these baking shows are getting crazy, right?
I am addicted to the Great British Baking Show.
Oh, okay.
It is so good. They just started a new season. It's on Netflix, and they used to give you all the episodes. Now it's appointment viewing. Now it's once a week, which is kind of good.
I like that, yeah.
Because you get to save a little bit of it, but then at the same point, you're just, you know, when you want something good to binge.
It's like a buffet, since you're speaking food.
Yeah.
It's like either a buffet or maybe, you know, just a four-course meal that comes to your nicest love, right?
Exactly, I like the way.
And the baking show, basically, what's the challenges? Like this week?
Every week, yeah, they've got to come up with some sort of baking recipe, and the only thing they win is a glass cake dish. They're all in it for the love of it.
I love that idea.
Be good.